The term culture originates from the Latin word cultivate. Communities are generally made up of people who share cultural characteristics. These cultural characteristics are defined by various influences, including geographical, spiritual, and agricultural considerations. Certain cultures impose distinct limitations or boundaries that make them unique. The purpose of this program is to introduce you to the most interesting and unique cultures from around the world. The Indonesian island of Bali is synonymous with luxurious vacations. We will unveil the ancient Hindu culture of Bali, which somehow continues to survive the constant influx of thousands of tourists. Lombok lies only 35 kilometers from Bali. Unlike Bali, it is yet to be discovered by the masses of tourists. As such, it is easy to observe the culture, the traditional artisans, and the unique Waktu Tru religion. Eight degrees south of the equator lies Bali, the westernmost island of the Lesser Sunda Islands. Once considered a land of mystery, today Bali is a top destination for those seeking luxurious vacations. The lush volcanic landscape has always attracted settlers who brought along their own faith and culture. However, of the 4 million inhabitants on Bali, 90% are followers of Balinese Hinduism. In the past, the unspoiled nature of the island spawned a variety of beliefs in various deities and demons. Today, however, the hearts and minds of the locals embrace both their faith and the values of a modern civilization. Very near Bali, we find the small island of Nusa Penida. Life here today reflects what life was like in Bali hundreds of years ago, before the economic tidal wave brought by the development of luxury hotels, restaurants, and other tourist attractions. The natives depend on maize flour and cattle because the dry inland landscape is unsuitable for the cultivation of rice. Food is prepared on open fireplaces where the only source of light is the fire itself and coconut oil torches. The basic staple of the local cuisine is maize flour enriched with rice and vegetables. On special occasions, pork and poultry are fried in coconut oil and seasoned with lots of chili. The village community follows values that have passed down over myriad generations. The food for the entire village is prepared in one place and is then distributed by housewives to all the villagers. It is hard to perceive that this inconspicuous little island was once used as an exile island for Balinese prisoners of conscience. It was believed that prisoners were sent here because Nusa Penida was a center of black magic, which explained why demons lived here. Each village has 3 temples. Pura Paset, the temple dedicated to the founders of the village. Pura Desa, which is the place of the good gods who safeguard the villagers. And Pura Dalam, which is the temple of death. The inhabitants of Nusa Penida believe they have solid reasons to believe in the supernatural. Legend has it that during a particularly strong earthquake, a third of the island caved in. The island lies in the Ring of Fire, which is known for its tectonic activity. One of the largest temples, Pura Dalam Paratarenped, is devoted to the female demon, Jerogeta Makaling. who was chased from Bali by the good demon Barong. This beautiful and sacred place is often visited in the hopes of collecting holy water. One of the daily rituals on both Nusa Penida and Bali is the sacrificing of delicacies in various places. This could be in front of a retail shop to encourage customer traffic, or at a crossroad to prevent accidents. Along with private rituals, the Balinese love to congregate at the site of huge shrines. They come together to praise the gods and ask for blessings for the whole island. In the capital, Denpasar, a ceremony celebrating trees is about to begin. The Balinese favor family rituals, along with individual and village ceremonies. For example, a child undergoes 13 different ceremonies from their conception to adulthood. The first celebration comes during the 3rd month of pregnancy. There is another celebration at the birth of the child. Then, on the 105th day of its life, the baby is officially welcomed into the family. The celebration of the Blessings of the Elders occurs on the child's 210th day. Once the sacrificed items are laid, a collective prayer takes place. During the evening of each of the 13 ceremonies, as an integral part of the tradition, a ritual dance follows a specific choreography. We are watching Legong, the dance of maidens that honors the trees. Here, dance is more than just people moving to music. During Topeng, the dance with a mask, each carefully practiced gesture has a meaning and reveals another fragment of a story. Here is a story of a demon enjoying his solitary existence in the jungle, playing the flute, conversing with the birds, and admiring the stunning trees. This is yet another example of a very specific Balinese dance. The movement and mime expressions are accompanied by a trombong. The dancers demonstrate a wide range of emotions ranging from courage to grandeur to flirting. The masks worn by the dancers are not simply decorative. The dancer must express the role of the character depending on the type of mask in the Topeng dance. Because the dance is a reflection of the mask being worn, it is essential that each movement be perfectly correct, as it is believed that the mask has the power to steal the identity of the dancer should he dare dance incorrectly. The masks are made exclusively from natural materials and colors. The hair and beard is made from horsehair or sheep wool. Wood from puli trees is used. The Balinese believe that puli wood represents a powerful character because it holds great spiritual power. The manufacture of a single mask usually takes 15 days and will have 75 layers of paint applied to it. The manufacture of jewelry also has an ancient tradition in Bali. Local legend would have you believe that Bali silversmiths learned the trade from the gods. Historians believe the jewelry trade came to the island from the traders of southern China. Jewelers are respected in this society. You get a real sense of that respect when you understand that the Balinese word for silversmith, pandai, also translates to the word for clever. Aspiring artists from all over Bali are drawn to the town of Ubud. Here is where you find local shops offering a wide range of artistic expressions. For these artists, the Balinese spiritual way of life is evident in their artistic expression. Life on Bali is a harmonious blend of religion, everyday life, art, nature, and mysticism. It is truly one of a kind. It is time to say goodbye to Bali, the Hindu island within an Islamic Indonesia. Our next stop is not far. We now anchor at the shores of Lombok, where the palm groves shade temples of an endemic faith, and where workshops offer unique handmade ceramics. Dutch sailors discovered Lombok in the 18th century. Today, Lombok still gives one the feeling of a forgotten island. The 3 million people living on Lombok rely on agriculture and fishing. In contrast to life on Bali, the culture of Lombok seems to move at a much slower pace. The comparison to Bali is unavoidable as you observe the influence of religion in the lives of the locals. The statues of gods and demons found in the Hindu temples of Lombok are equally as frightening as those found in Bali. However, unlike Bali, Lombok is predominantly Islamic. The divergent faiths coexist peacefully, and the faithful in both cultures respect the other's holidays, which often occur at the same time. From a spiritual perspective, Lombok offers something unique, its very own religion called Waktu Tru. It combines Hinduism and Islam. It originated from the animistic rituals of the ancient inhabitants of the island. Waktu Tru means 3 times, a reference to the number of compulsory daily prayers. In the Waktu Tru faith, the eel is considered a sacred animal. A pool with 2 eels is found next to the main temple. One of the many tasks of the faithful is the regular feeding of hard-boiled eggs to the eels. Should the eels accept the egg, the faithful shall be granted a wish. Sadly, there are times when the eels have had enough. On Lombok, just as anywhere in Indonesia, cockfighting or sabang ayam is very popular. Cockfighting was made officially illegal here, because it encourages gambling. Many natives have lost all their money through betting on these fights. Nowadays, the fights are organized under the auspices of an ancient ritual, Tabu Ra. To continue these fights, they use the rationale of seeking to appease the demons by shedding the blood from weaker birds. While the elders watch the birds fight, the children of Lombok amuse themselves by playing games on the playgrounds of the temples. The temples serve as venues for all sorts of social events. The springs that run beneath the Puralingsar temple also serve as a public washroom for everyone, regardless of their faith. The adjacent water reservoir serves the local fishermen well. A temple is not just a shrine, but also a place where the village meets for any number of communal activities. The peaceful rhythm of humanity in the shrine indicates that for the people of Lombok, spiritual joy is the value held above all others. No one is in a particular rush. All have their responsibilities, which are performed with deliberate care. They have another reason for feeling so spiritual today. It's Ramadan, the Muslim month of fasting. The concrete skeleton of a brand new mosque is covered in bamboo scaffolding. Bamboo is extraordinary in that it is extremely flexible but maintains its rigidity. It is resistant to humidity and can be used repeatedly in construction. Bamboo is a true blessing for builders. It is perfect to use in the manufacture of furniture. It can be used to create construction pillars, and it grows very quickly so as to be plentiful. Lombok lies on an imaginary boundary between Indo-Malaysia and the Australasian ecozone. The 3,726-meter-high Rinjani volcano is routinely shrouded in rain clouds, which thus ensures that the rice fields, as well as the coffee and tobacco plantations, are well irrigated. 10% of the Lombok population are Balinese immigrants, and the remaining 90% are called Sasaks. The Sasaks, a people that can be traced back to the 14th century, are known to have emigrated to Lombok, but historians are undecided whether it was from India or Java. In either case, that was a time when Muslims were making an effort to push Hindu populations eastward. Unlike the Balinese, the Sasaks devotedly maintained their original ritual architecture. This is evident in local villages that are built using bamboo, rice stalks, and palm leaves. Life here is modest and hard. It is as if time stands still. Whether manufacturing textiles or engaging in construction, the Sasaks are compelled to utilize what nature has put around them. For them, tradition is the only way of life. Weaved materials made from cotton or silk are called songket. They come in many colors, and the technique is passed from mother to daughter. The girls start to learn this difficult trade from the age of 10 because, according to the tradition, a woman can only marry once she has learned to weave. art of ceramics is a powerful cultural phenomenon attributed to the Sassaks, who have become somewhat famous for their work. It is no surprise that the simple technique and philosophy they use to make fabric, they also apply to their ceramics. Despite its character, reminiscent of medieval times, the techniques used work just perfectly. Clay is gathered on the surrounding hills and transported by horse-drawn coaches. When the clay is cleaned of rocks and other impurities, it is formed into little cubes and dried in the sun. When it is completely dry, it is crushed into dust, which forms the basis of potter's clay. The simple geniality of crushing the clay must be praised. As he steps on it, every single passerby manages to take part in the process. The vessels formed from soft clay are placed amidst piles of straw. Then, the straw is lit and water is poured over to maintain a steady heat. Soon, ready-made jugs, vases, and bowls can be removed from the glowing embers. Once the ceramic is removed, it is treated. Then the process is repeated to ensure greater quality. The basic color of the ceramic is given by the color of the clay. Coconut oil is usually used for the first layer of glazing. The process is not complete just yet. The finished pieces are taken from the natural ovens to the workshops of various artists. Within these individual workshops, the ceramics acquire their unmistakable character. Traditional motifs are created on the jugs from crushed eggshells. The final appearance is achieved using paint. The outcome very much depends on the skill and the personality of the designer. The final decorations are up to the women. The journey from potter's clay all the way to the final product is now complete. The jugs are carefully wrapped, then placed into transportation crates, which are also made from natural materials. They are then mailed to collectors all over the world. The natives of Lombok would most certainly claim the prize for the most ecological ceramic product. Their ability to use natural materials comes from their deep and personal relationship to the nature that surrounds them. The culture of Lombok is eco-centric, a trait we should all want to share. Today's journey in the footsteps of various unusual cultures has brought us to two Indonesian islands just a few kilometers apart. Although both islands are predominantly Hindu, their respective customs and traditions went on divergent paths. In the next episode, we will return once again to Indonesia in order to explore the colorful traditions of Java, the country's most inhabited island. Portuguese sailors, who replenished their supplies on the island of Madeira before setting out on journeys of exploration and discovery, left behind an imprint. Madeira, in the Atlantic Ocean near the African coast, and our next stop, is an island of endless springtime.